Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Erica Schmerika Reality Recaps. We took a little break for a while, but now we are back to discuss the season finale of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, Season 6, Episode 15, the one before the tell-all. Let's get started. Big Mike and Natalie. So now we've come to the part where it's time for them to have their dramatic breakup, even though they've basically been breaking up every single episode since she landed in the US. But now Big Mike is sulking in his kitchen as Natalie rolled up with Juliana waiting in the car. And she walks in and she's ready to just cut things off with the big guy. So she goes in. First, she grabs the rat, which kind of glad to see he's still alive. I mean, they did have a cat in the house and they haven't showed him in the last 4 episodes or anything. But Lucky the rat lives on. Anyway, Natalie greets Lucky with more emotional enthusiasm that she's had throughout the entire season, especially towards Mike. And she's like holding the rat. She's like, booyah, booyah, booyah. She's like petting it and like it wants to crawl around and make a nest in her hair. It's fine. Anyway, so Big Mike's just sitting there and like Natalie's even annoying when you're trying to break up with her. So at first he seemed sad and like he wanted things to work out. And then he just seemed annoyed that she was like so Natalie even while they were trying to break up. Natalie says, she's had enough. It's not going to work out. She went and took her Roxy luggage. Must have gotten that at Marshall's. No disrespect. I love Marshall's. And went over to the bedroom, packed up all of her clothing. And we got to see Natalie's decorating style, which was a lot of butterfly and flower decals all over Mike's walls. After she packed her stuff up, they had another awkward exchange in the kitchen before she hightailed it out of there and sat in the car with Juliana. Now, Juliana was in the car for so long that she had to go to the bathroom. So instead of just knocking on Uncle Bo's shanty or, peeing in the woods, she decided it would be a great idea to just go ask Mike if she could utilize his facilities. Mike was already pouring himself shots in the kitchen, talking about the whole thing to production when Juliana's just like, Mike, do you mind if I use your bathroom? Oh my God. Who would let this woman use their bathroom? I mean, she could do an upper decker. She could take your toothbrush and scrub the inside of the toilet. She could take your strand of hair from your comb to like put a spell on you when she gets home. She does seem a little witchy. I don't know. I wouldn't trust her. I'm not letting her in my bathroom. Anyway, Mike was a better person than I was. Production made sure to really mic up the flush to drive home the point that, she had the audacity to use the bathroom during the breakup scene. And Mike even said, sure, take my wife. Use my bathroom. And we're not even sure if she washed her hands or not. And then she walked over to Big Mike and tried to console him by awkwardly embracing him in this horrible hug before, being like, you can call me anytime. It's like, yeah, lady, I want to call you. You just stuck my toothbrush in the toilet. So RIP to Big Mike and Natalie's relationship, which should have ended probably before this entire season of the show. This week, it was finally time for Chuck's big barbecue idea, which was probably one of the dumbest ideas he's had yet. I mean, if it didn't work in the RV, it didn't work in the winery at the family reunion. It didn't work at a 2-year-old's birthday party. It didn't work anywhere. Bringing the family together thing is just not going to happen, Chuck. Stop trying to make fetch happen, okay? Meanwhile, he's not going to stop. So the first people to arrive on the scene are Elizabeth and Andre. And I really like that they coordinated their outfits with this jungle theme, welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games. Elizabeth was wearing her turtleneck leopard print shirt. She had these giant obnoxious gold earrings. She's like, Andre, we're going to go over there and talk to my sisters, my dad. I want you to be nice, but I know you're not nice, Andre. And then I can be mean too. I want to be. And then Andre is just like, I'll just finish my thoughts. And he's wearing a black lounge shirt with tigers on it to go with the jungle theme. Anyway, they show up. They want to get in there, get in good with Chuck. They're waiting for everybody else. Becky shows up next wearing some crazy outfit that looks like when you let your 5-year-old dress themselves, plus a fanny pack. And she and her husband, they don't even want to sit because they already know they may have to make a quick getaway. So they go in, they're kind of loitering around, being cautious. Then Jen rolls in and she's all upset. She starts talking to Chuck right away about how he's been like leaving her out of a lot of things involving the family business. So as things start to get a little tense in the conversation, in walks Charlie and his wife Megan, coming in hot. Right away, Charlie's like, "Who else kills Charlie? Anybody want to send Charlie to jail? Ugh, Charlie's here." I mean, he just was such an idiot. So he walks in, mouthing off right away. Andres' blood begins to boil. The tigers from his shirt really ramped him up. He got in, fight mode, and he just started screaming back at Charlie. The two of them started screaming. Charlie comes over, gets in Andres' face, and Andres decides he's just going to lay him out on the floor. So no one went in the pool the whole episode. That was a little bit of an upset. I was kind of looking forward to somebody going in the pool. Anyway, but throughout the Charlie and Andres fight, Megan tried to like defend her husband from Andres. So she's like punching him in the face or like pushing his head. And then Libby gets in there and she's like, "I got, like, no, it doesn't Andres that way. Like, no." And then she like starts fighting with her. And then, she accused Megan of scratching her with one of her like horrible acrylic nails. I don't even know. Everybody was screaming. Chuck was audibly sobbing, just sitting at the table crying into his like lonely bowl of baked beans that no one was going to eat anyway. I mean, really, those baked beans were either going to get a bowl full of tears or thrown in somebody's face. There were really only two ways that bowl of baked beans were going. So what a disaster this was. The bouncer had to step in and pull Andres off of Charlie because he was like out for blood. They had to break up the fight. Then like every child took turns like going into different places. Like Jen went outside, and then they pulled Libby and Andre outside, and they, it was so dramatic and so stupid. And even Libby was annoyed with Andre because he kept trying to fight, and he kept like running out and then running back in and running back at Charlie. And Charlie kept going, "And what? And what, Moldova? You ain't got nothing for me, Moldova." Blah, blah. And then, like Megan in her denim jacket. What an episode. Really, I mean, I couldn't have cared less about them the entire season. This is the first time they got interesting, and it was the season finale. It was really the dumbest thing of all time. Chuck's very upset because his family's not getting along, although they never really did get along, and this was not going to bring them any closer. Chuck knew what he was doing. He is the instigator. He made sure there were no children present. Was it because they were going to all talk about their OnlyFans? No, he knew what was going to happen. So anyway, it's really Chuck's evil master plan to have this happen, and I blame Chuck in all of this. But I do actually agree the most with husband Becky, who was the only sane one in this whole thing, who said, "You're both idiots," about Andre and Charlie, which is really accurate. They both are the exact same person. One just has a more Dracula accent, and that's about it. Kalani and Asuelu were just still recovering from last week from the big fight between Asuelu, his mother, and Tammy, of course, who now I'm pretty sure could just join Family Elizabeth because she's, a UFC fighter. Anyway, so Mother Kalani is trying to console Asuelu because she feels very bad about everything that went down with his family. He still claims he wants that relationship with his mother because it is, after all, his mother, but he's done with Tammy for now. So he needs to let off a little steam. So he went ahead and met up with his friend Tui, and they went to this place where they got to like destroy things, like an Office Space when they beat up the copy machine with a baseball bat. Looked like a fun place to visit. Aside from just the frustration with his family, Asuelu's also super upset because Mother Kalani and Lo decided that they were going to sell their house in Utah, which essentially leaves Kalani and Asuelu and the kids without a home and also without free childcare, which they always have help with. So anyway, he's very stressed out. His friend Tui gave him the awful advice that they should move back to Samoa because life there is much easier and much cheaper. Of course, Kalani's not going to go for that, especially when Asuelu presented the idea to her after a fun little day date of playing volleyball. And, she didn't really go for it. And then he tried to, like, drum up this new theme of, like, "Well, you're not real Samoa woman." It's like, all right, a little too late. We don't even need more plot points here. We're winding down the season. Let's just, like, end on a high note and like come up with something else. I don't know. They already tried to push this third baby thing to try and have another storyline. This whole like moving to Samoa thing. I mean, I guess next season they'll probably show them going to Samoa because Kalani agreed to go for like 2 months. But anyway, that's all with them. I really hope Tammy and Mother Asuelu show up at the tell-all. Tiffany and Ronald had a very unsuccessful therapy session last week. It seemed like it went well, but then they started a huge blowout fight in the parking lot upon leaving the therapy session, where Tiffany took off and went to go stay at a hotel by herself. So Ronald followed her there and tried to bring her back to the Blue Dungeon. However, Tiffany was like, no one's making me go over there. And meanwhile, then took a cab back to the house after he shared he could have gotten in the car with Ronald for free. So meanwhile, if Ronald would have done that, Tiffany would have been like, he's wasting money. He's always wasting money. I could have taken him for free and he's wasting money. But now Tiffany wasted the Uber ride. Just leaving that out there. Again, I am never team Ronald, team Tiffany, or team one or team of the other. I am team Schmerica all the time. I don't think, because one is right and one is wrong. I don't think that. I think I'm agreeing with husband Becky. They're all idiots. But this is just how it unfolded. Anyway, so they go back to the apartment and they're still screaming at each other. Ronald is vaping like a madman. Tiffany's sitting on his couch, which is underlit with LED lighting. Super weird. They sleep separately, and then the next morning, Ronald wakes up and makes them coffee in their personalized coffee mugs, like nothing ever happened. But they got more serious in discussing their future and their relationship and their little power struggles, and they keep butting heads. And Tiffany starts packing her stuff, and she says she's going home. Ronald, on the other hand, wants to keep the kids because he doesn't think it's fair that she's going to try and take the kids from him again. But he can't even change a poopy diaper, so he'll probably just, keep Carly until she poops, and then he'll just send her back to the U.S. Anyway, these two are doomed. We've literally watched them fight for 15 episodes, and yeah, can't wait to see them fight next week for the tell-all. Yara and Mama Gwen were sitting together in the hotel room, catching up on what just happened with Yara and Jovi's date night to the strip club. Definitely Gwen was team Yara in this. She thought it was a really dumb idea for Jovi to try to take her to the strip club, as it was. And, she just said they need to talk, they need to work through their problems. It does seem like they do love each other and that they do want to work through their problems, but who's to say? Otherwise, there's really not much going on here, and Mama Gwen is still the best. Last but not least, Angela and Skyla went to a fertility clinic yet again to beat the dead horse and once and for all put to bed the whole idea of toting the egg. Skyla is still adamant that she is not donating an egg for Team Mangela to happen. And you know what? Good for her, because that just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. So she basically sat them down and told them the risks, with Mima getting her new makeover. This would definitely be, toting the egg would definitely be a problem on her body. It could lead to diabetes, high blood pressure, a series of medical conditions. And then also if Skyla were to donate the egg, which she already put the kibosh on that, she would have to worry about a number of medical side effects and health risks as well. So Angela finally was like, no, we're not doing that. And it was going to cost $100,000, which do they even have that? Chuck has it. You could just ask him. Anyway, Angela now is worried about telling Michael that this is a hard no, and she thinks it might end her marriage, which was already over 4 episodes ago, but then came back for the fertility conversation. I don't know. Anyway, the previews show a very rowdy Angela at the tell-all, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Erica Schmerica Reality Recaps. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to get notified about any new videos that I post. I'll see you guys next week for the big recap of the Tell-All Part 1. Bye!